Hi, I'm Father Jedidiah, and this is our second October video during our Year of the Eucharist video series, and we're going to continue our talk on sacred music. So last week we talked about beauty, and beauty in more of an objective, transcendent sense, like beauty that actually draws us into the worship of God, right? So Christian beauty in a Christian, in a Catholic sense, the kind of beauty we would experience in a Gothic cathedral, perhaps, or a Byzantine basilica, or St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, something like that. The kind of beauty that transcends particular times and preferences and draws us into worship of God. So that's where our talk on sacred music will go from there. So just because music is Christian music, and there's plenty of great Christian music out there, secular styles, more sacred styles, whatever it is, just because something's Christian music doesn't mean it's sacred music. And what do we mean by sacred? Sacred is simply a word that means set apart. Another word for sacred is holy. It means set apart for a different purpose. And in this, for our purpose, it's set apart for the worship of God. So we should not find the same kind of music in Mass, in the sacred liturgy, that we would find on a top 40 station on the radio, because this is the sacred liturgy. This isn't the human liturgy. This isn't something we put together and just kind of come up with arbitrarily. This is something that's been given to us by Christ, ultimately, in giving us Himself as the sacrifice on the cross. That's the same sacrifice on the altar at every Mass. So Christ gives us perfect worship by giving us Himself in the Eucharist, and through the Church, through the authority of the Church gives us the sacred liturgy, which is the way we worship Christ and enter into that holy sacrifice. And so the music at Mass, at the sacred liturgy, should be sacred music. All right, so what does that mean? And so sometimes people think, and this is where it gets a little bit squirrely, so sometimes people think that sacred music, what's good for Mass is, well, if the people can sing it, then it's good. Or if we've sung this forever at our parish or that parish, it's good. Or and it turns into something celebrating the community. That the music is appropriate for Mass if the people like it, or if this priest likes it, or that priest like it. But that's not sacred music, is it? That's the kind of music I like, or you like, or he or she likes. That's not sacred music. That's going back to individual preferences. The Church actually gives us in the general instructions for the Roman Missal. The Missal is that big old red book that you see by the priest's chair that he reads the prayers out of, like let us pray, and then there's the prayers in the Missal, the Eucharistic prayers in the Missal, all the prayers at Mass are in the Missal. So in the beginning of the Roman Missal, there are instructions for how to celebrate Mass, everything from the kind of vessels we use, the kind of vestments we wear, and the kind of music that's at Mass. And so the Church recognizes that the music most suited, or the music that takes pride of place, or in Latin, the first place, in the Roman Rite is Gregorian Chant. Now, some people think that perhaps the Second Vatican Council got rid of Latin, or got rid of Gregorian Chant, got rid of traditional music, but you're going to find it right there in the Roman Missal, published in 1969 by Pope St. Paul VI, republished by Pope John Paul II in 2000, says it right in there. The Gregorian Chant takes pride of place as the music most suited to the Roman Rite. And it's quoting directly from the Second Vatican Council, too. So this is not turning back the clock. This is not going back in time. This is not abandoning Vatican II or anything like that. It's actually being faithful to the Council. It's being faithful to modern popes. It's being faithful to what the Church teaches. Now, at the same time, the Church doesn't condemn other types of music besides Gregorian Chant. That Gregorian Chant is very difficult. Not every parish is equipped to have a Gregorian Chant schola, something like that. And so the Church proposes that the music that's more like Gregorian Chant, the more it approaches that music that takes pride of place, the more appropriate it is for Mass. So in other places, there are simpler chants, both in Latin and in other languages. There are simple English chants, especially during Advent. We're going to start using simple English chants during Mass. And what we're doing with that is, instead of singing hymns at Mass, we're actually singing the prayers that the Church gives to us at Mass. And so we'll get into that in the next couple videos of what exactly those simple English propers are, what's a proper versus things like that. But that's kind of something to keep in mind, that the more music appropriates Gregorian Chant, or the closer it gets to Gregorian Chant, the more suited it is for the Roman liturgy, for the Roman Rite. And we go to Mass in the Roman Rite. So that's kind of something to remember, that this isn't just something that I come up with, that a different priest comes up with, that this or that parish comes up with, but the Church actually gives us principles of what is most appropriate for Mass. And Holy Mother Church says Gregorian chant is most appropriate for Mass, and the music that is similar to it is more and more appropriate for the holy sacrifice of the Mass. So that can be kind of a challenge for a lot of us. You know, many of us aren't used to Gregorian chant. We don't hear it all that often. Maybe it sounds kind of old school, kind of traditional to some ears. But the fact is, this is just like we talk about timeless beauty in buildings, like Gothic spires being a timeless beauty. Gregorian chant is a timeless beauty that draws us into the worship of God. And the music that is like Gregorian chant, whether it's in English, whether it's in Latin, whatever country it's in, or whatever language it's in, whatever country, the more it's like Gregorian chant, the more it draws us into that sacred worship in the sacred liturgy. So next week we're going to talk more about what that actually means, what that actually looks like, and look forward to seeing you again next week. God bless.